There is less than a week until Christmas, so I wanted to make a video giving you some last minute crochet Christmas ideas in case you still need to make a couple gifts for somebody. And these gifts don't have to just be limited to Christmas. They are really just last minute gift ideas for any time of the year, but it is Christmas time right now. So if anybody needs some Christmas ideas that they can do last minute, then here we go. So I made a list of a bunch of different quick and easy crochet ideas, and all of these should be things that you can make in less than a day. Some projects are going to be a little more time consuming than others, but they still all should be relatively quick. And I'm going to have some reference pictures of everything that I mentioned just for inspiration, and these are all going to be mostly free patterns, and I found most of these on either Pinterest or Instagram. So the first category I'm going to start with is accessories / miscellaneous. And I kind of just combined these two categories because I originally had them separate, and then I noticed that there were a lot of similarities, and so I figured I'd just combine them to make it easier. So to start, we have tote bags, and I actually have made quite a few tote bags. So I have that one, and then I have these two that are still works in progress. And this is probably the simplest way to make a tote bag. It's just you start with a chain to make it however wide, and then you just add 3 extra stitches on the edges to make it curve around, and then you just crochet all the way to the top until you get however long you want the bag to be. And then all you have to do is make the straps. So I think this is like probably the easiest and fastest way to make a tote bag, but there's plenty of other ways too. You could crochet granny squares and put them together. I also have made one like that where you just do 2 big granny squares and then sew them together. Easy peasy. That's even faster. So there's lots of different ways you can do it, and depending on how you make it, it's going to affect how long it takes. So if you're in a hurry, do something that's simple. You can also make beanies, which are very universal. Most people like beanies. Most people wear beanies in the wintertime. Perfect for Christmas. And there's also lots of ways you can make them simple and fast, or you can do something more complicated. There's tons of ways to do beanies. Beanies can also be made on the knitting machine too, if you have one and want to make them even faster. You can also make ear warmers, and I'm actually working on a pair of ear warmers myself. With some leftover chunky yarn that I had. And, again, you can make it simple or you can make it more complicated. There's lots of free patterns and patterns that cost money out there that will teach you how to make simple ear warmers. For mine, I'm just doing a long rectangle, and it's all single crochets in the back loops only throughout the whole thing. And then once it reaches however long I need it to be, then I will just sew the ends together. Really simple. Something that does not take very long at all. Next, you can also make gloves and fingerless gloves or mittens. Fingerless gloves seem to be very popular in crochet because they seem a little less complicated because you don't have to actually crochet each individual finger. And I think that also makes it a little more universal in sizing since not everybody's hands are the same size. You can also make scarves, which is also another thing you can make on a knitting machine too, if you have that and want to be even faster. There's lots of cool different patterns that you can do for scarves, and you can even cater them to be for a specific character or a theme from a movie or whatever the person you're making for likes. You can also make bucket hats. I've made a couple bucket hats before, and they, work up within a few hours. They're not too complicated to make. It's actually pretty simple. But if you are making one as a gift for somebody, then you definitely need to get the measurements of how wide their head is, because not everybody's heads are the same size. So you might be making one based off a pattern and then it ends up too small or too big. So definitely take into account the size of your person's head when making a bucket hat. You can also make keychains or chapstick holders, and I'm including chapstick holders with this just because most chapstick holder is going to be in the form of a keychain that you're going to either attach to a bag or your belt loop or whatever. There's tons of cute designs, and they work up really fast. And speaking of chapstick holders, you could also make an AirPods holder or just some kind of case for whatever kind of earbuds that your person likes to use. I've seen some that are more simple where it's just like a little pouch that you attach to your bag and you can just take your AirPods in and out of it. And then there's also more complicated ones that are actually a full-on case that you just leave on your AirPods all the time. You can also make a little leaf sprout to put on either the tops of somebody's headphones if they like to wear actual headphones instead of use earbuds. Or you could also make it for just people to use as to tie up their cords, like their chargers and whatnot. You could also make small tapestries And I know you can buy little packs of small dowels from Walmart or Dollar Tree or wherever just for cheap. And then you make a little small tapestry for someone to hang on their wall. You attach it to the dowel, and then you add a little strap, and they can hang it on their wall or wherever they want to hang it. And the tapestries do take a little longer than just crocheting something solid with a solid color, because there are lots of color changes. So depending on how much time you have or how much yarn and the types of colors you have, you may want to pick a smaller tapestry that has a less complicated design with not as many color changes if you're in a hurry. Another thing you can make is some cup cozies. Basically, they're just little crochet sleeves that you can put on your coffee cup or your mug. There's lots of different patterns. You can make them really simple or really complicated and with lots of different designs. And you can definitely make them catered towards whatever kind of style the person you're gifting it to likes. You can also make coasters, which is a pretty good gift for anybody, because I feel like most people don't really think about using coasters a lot. Even if they already have a couple coasters, they might not use them, so this could still be a good gift for anyone. And I've seen lots of cute coaster designs where you can either just make them like an animal or a fruit or whatever. And I've seen people do them where if you've got somebody that really loves plants, you can make a holder for the coasters that's like a pot. And then when you fold up all the coasters, the edges of the coasters make a little plant leaf. And so it looks like you just have a crochet potted plant that works as decoration. And then when you want to use it as a coaster, you can. You could also make small baskets for someone if you know anybody that just might need a little more organization on their desk or wherever, or if they just really like baskets. Making some small little desk baskets for someone would work up really fast, maybe a couple hours, and might not be something they would ever think about making or getting for themselves. And lastly, in the accessories or miscellaneous category, we have baby blankets. If you know anyone that has a baby or small toddler, they would most likely love a handmade baby blanket, which really you could make a full-size blanket for someone too, but these are supposed to be more last-minute gift ideas, and a full-size blanket is going to take a whole lot longer than a baby blanket would. So baby blankets it is. All right, now we're gonna move on to the last half of the video where I'm gonna talk about a bunch of small plushie ideas that you can give as gifts for people. And this part of the video is only going to include free patterns. So all of the images I put on the screens are free patterns. Majority of them you can find on Instagram, and I have cropped the pictures to where you can still see the creator's Instagram handle so that you can go follow them on Instagram or find their pattern, whatever you want to do. But there might be one or two that I found on Pinterest. So to start, I'm actually going to shout out my free pattern. This is the only free pattern that I've written so far, and it is on my Instagram at emmy.diy. If you want to go follow, use it. It's a pop-up mushroom. It's just a small little mushroom plushie, and it's really cute, really simple. Doesn't take that long to make. And the post that I have up right now for this free pattern is actually just a picture of my handwritten pattern in my sketchbook. But at some point I am going to revamp it, make it look nice, type it in a doc, and repost it again so that it looks a little nicer and is a little bit easier to read. But that is a free pattern that I do have right now. All right, and then there's tons of other free patterns that I screenshotted and I'm gonna put in the video, but I might not necessarily talk about just because there's a lot. So I'm gonna talk about some of the ones that I've done or some of the ones that I want to make, and then the rest will also be on the screen. So my most popular small plushie pattern that I've ever done has been the Chubby Dino by Studio Phoebe 22. And she also has another pattern that is a mini Stegosaurus, and I've been wanting to try that one too. They're both very cute, and dinosaurs seem to be a hit. Anywhere, anytime I've ever sold crochet stuff, people love dinosaurs. And then I also saw a fruit Stegosaurus crochet pattern that is adorable, perfect to go with dinosaurs. And then I also found another pattern of a little mini T-Rex that would also be good as a keychain. So I know I mentioned keychains earlier, and one thing I didn't show pictures of with keychains is that you could also do small plushies like this as a keychain. So one thing that I've also done has been gummy bears. I found this short, easy, quick little gummy bear keychain pattern on TikTok, and it's really small, works up in 30 minutes. And those are also another one of my best sellers of crochet things that I have ever sold. Another thing that's really popular is cows and sea life. You got sea turtles that you can also make into little keychains too, if it's small enough. squids, octopuses, axolotls, snakes, sharks, whales, you name it. Jellyfish. There's also plenty of bee patterns out there, lots of different mushrooms, ducks, bears, frogs, plenty of cute stuff. I also really like this sleepy panda pattern that I found. I just think it's adorable. And then I also found a capybara pattern, which seemed to be very popular this year. But yeah, that is all of the crochet last minute gift ideas that I have for you. Lots of ideas packed into a kind of shorter video, but most of them are free patterns and you can stop and rewind, screenshot, whatever you need to find them. And I tried to find the original creators of all of the patterns that I found on Instagram, so I'm sorry if I ended up not finding the actual original creator, but I did my best. So that is all I have. Thank you for watching and Merry Christmas!